Yay! Okay, so this is the questions video because I felt like I'd gone too long without inflicting my visit upon the general populace. It's different when it's still, you don't get the full effect. You're still shielded by my terrible webcam quality, but I hope I'm causing at least a few Lovecraftian mind breakages right about now. I'm out of it. It has not been a great week, month for me. But I'll attempt to remain as coherent as possible. I'm very non-prepared for this, but let's do it anyway. Okay, so the questions I got, which I have written down, that's what I'm looking at. If I can read my own handwriting. Okay, so I'm starting with this one because the answer is a little bit depressing. Because Igwarth, I really hope that's how it's actually pronounced, asked if you could tell your past self one thing, what would it be? Every possibility I've thought of is some kind of really depressing thing. Like, it's not your fault that your parents treat you this way, or you don't have to feel like a piece of shit for having sexual feelings at 14, or other kinds of dark things. But overall, I have a hard time really thinking about that question because I get really wrapped up in, but if I change the past, I wouldn't wind up like I am now, and I've already rambled about this for way too long, so I'm moving on. Okay. What, Sidair, also hoping I'm pronouncing that right-ish, Sidair, asked, what original character have you been thinking about lately? And what story are they from? And what do you like the most about them? The answer has changed daily. Sometimes I fixate on stories and characters for longer periods, but when I'm stressed, I switch between them very, very quickly. One day I'll be thinking about one thing really intensely, and the next I'll be on another one. Today I was thinking a lot about a sci-fi Peter Pan retelling. It's kind of sci-fi. That my sister and I are collaborating on, but I figure probably won't go into that because it's collaboration, and I don't feel as qualified to talk about it in depth. Aside from that, I've been thinking a lot about my words are deserting me. I've been thinking a lot about the characters from Wedden's Cross, which is the project I'm going to be working on with NaNoWriMo. Especially, like, actually I haven't been thinking of one of the characters more than this, because I wanted to really, some of my stories, the characters have more their separate arcs, and they sometimes intersect, but I think about them more one at a time. It's like, the entirety of Wedden's Cross is actually just like, it's almost like people are never just having their own story arc. It's like this really tight web of relationships. That's one of the big points of the story. It's about this group and how they relate to each other, which is, Fred Dustwood, Mags, Sarah, and her sister Eden. So I've been thinking about those guys a lot, and they're all like very queer and very mentally ill in their own ways, so I love them. And yeah, the story they're from is called Women's Cross, and it's a small weird town story. Like, it's really me taking some characters that have been around my head for a really long time and combining them with a genre that I really care about, the small weird town where vaguely supernatural stuff is happening, and try and just kind of have fun with it and get out a lot of different feelings I have. It will work. To pick, well, I really like writing Sarah, who's one of the main viewpoint characters for the first book, because I identify with her as someone who has a lot going on in her head that doesn't show on the outside. Like, she's probably autistic and doesn't know it, because I actually have seen practically no characters in literature ever who are autistic and don't know it, and it's like, I spent most of my life being autistic and not knowing it, so there's a dearth. I'm doing my best. But my point is, she is constantly thinking about stuff and like evaluating people and building up all these files basically on people she knows and deciding what's going on with them and forming theories and all this stuff. And most people that she meets just kind of think she's a bit of a ditz, because she very rarely talks about any of the stuff going on in her head, because she's not grew up in an ideal situation. She's never really found anyone she can communicate with in the way she'd like to, who don't immediately react like you're super weird. So I really enjoy writing somebody who is such a complicated inner life that she struggles with having people recognize that, and she struggles with having an effect on the world, even though she's got lots of thoughts about it. And that's a very relatable thing about her for me, and I like writing that aspect of her. And final question that I got is from Alalfa. I don't pronounce things very well, even in day-to-day life, even stuff I've pronounced for ages, so whenever I try to pronounce new things, I'm just like, hopefully it's in the general ballpark. Okay, so Alalfa asked if there was any particular character archetypes I saw showing up in my work, and also one other question, we'll get to in just a second. I know I said this was the last question. It's the last two-part question. It's the last two questions were asked by the last person. So character archetypes. I'm not very good with probably, those books that are full of, here's character archetypes. I think I read one once. I'm not very good at recognizing archetypes, at least in my own work. So I've been thinking about it, but it's really hard to think about like any specific archetypes that I do. There are certain types of characters that tend to show up that I've thought of a couple of, and I tend to write, I have a very, don't know what I'm saying now. Okay. I have a fair few, female characters who are, very blunt, very straightforward, kind of violent, they're kind of jerks, but they're also fun to be around. They're a little bit like, what's her name, Rosa? The woman from Brooklyn Nine-Nine on the leather jacket. Yeah, a little bit like that. That type shows up a fair bit. Also, a lot of boys with severe emotional problems, which is to be expected. Specifically guys who have trauma that's usually more associated with female characters. That shows up a fair bit. I like writing characters who have very, like, blue and orange morality, who have a very different way of looking at the world, and who aren't just played for creepiness. They're, like, part of the story. And I write a lot of people with what I call Addams Family morality, which is just, like, stuff like death is way more normal to them. For some reason, I really like writing morbid people. I really like writing people kind of in the horror villains. Characters that you think could probably come from a horror movie, even if technically that's not the genre. People who are very, very casual about stuff that other people are freaked out by. I really like writing that. So, yeah. And sorry, I tried to think more about neat-sounding archetype stuff, but I couldn't figure it out. God, I need to cut my hair. I need to get my hair cut. And the last one, actually, this time, is if there are any tropes or plot lines that I really liked in theory, but then usually didn't like when they were executed. I really, really love when, like, people do a prequel and they're like, these people used to really care about each other, how they become enemies in the actual story. I am so there for that. But it's usually done really, really badly. Sometimes done well, but I don't really like that. But it's enough to make me kind of wary. Also, a plotline that I really love in theory is, like, somebody dies or vanishes, and then you discover that they've been hiding stuff, there's some kind of mystery going on. But that's another one that usually winds up written in ways that I really, really hate. So I've gotten really wary of it at this point. And frankly, I'm not sure this quite qualifies, but I used to get kind of excited when I saw stories that were like these very, weird people, or like weird going out meet each other and like become friends. I kind of love that. But it pretty much always turns into romance, and not only that, but like just a very badly written romance. And sometimes I feel like there are romances described, but I'd be up for this. But then the way it's written is just, I feel like sometimes you get these unconventional pairings that I feel like I'd be okay with reading, even though I'm, kind of romance repulsed a great deal of the time. But they not only go for romance, they go for a very specific romance narrative that feels out of character for the characters. So I've gotten really, really jaded around both in kind of people meeting and becoming friends, because I'm worried it's going to turn to romance, and I'm also really wary of romances, because even ones that sound on the outside like I might like them, because generally they're just not done in a way that I can appreciate. Yeah, that's all I can think of at the moment. And okay, so this, like, something that I've been thinking of telling people, that I was thinking of announcing here, but it's too nerve-wracking actually now that I get to the point, so I'm gonna try to write it out later. it's nothing bad, just like big-ish. You'll see it a bit later. But thanks for sticking with me for 15 minutes as I ramble on and on. And, bye.